per over. It's interesting, Mike. Walaza is still able to get some drift in the air, and I think that is very well, good sign of good skills, especially now that the ball seems to have worn out a little bit. After 17 overs, you expect that it has worn out, but anyway, it has not even got hit so much, so the shine could still be on. But it's interesting to see that she's still getting some drift into the batsmen, and of course that poses a different kind of proposition to the batters.
You know, Ivan, you're absolutely right. There is a hint of in-swing and a very brilliant, almost run out there. Good piece of teamwork play there between, I think it's Janet Mbabazi and the wicketkeeper Kevin Awino. But you do mention Sarah Walaza, with her bit of lanky appearance, she seems to have a bit of hyperextension in her arms, and that naturally gives her the ability to drift that ball back in a bit with a natural in-swing action. It will be very good to see if we can have just a bit of that kind of capturing of her action, especially at the final moment. So it doesn't matter what time of the day, she seems to get the natural in-swing coming through, Ivan.
Yeah, and she seems to have a very good rhythmic run-up, but most importantly, her bowling action is still upright. She stays still for long enough. There you go, still drifting in. She's getting that drift very well. Her bowling action is nice and high, and so she's able to give the ball a lot of time in the air, and then that will cause the drift. And so she's troubling constantly troubling the batters, and also she's bowling stump to stump, limiting the batsmen's mobilities and of course their varieties. Goes wide on that occasion, run out chance. Oh, I tell you what, the Ugandan fielding has been they have been on top of their game, creating chances, creating pressure, supporting their bowlers. It's brilliant to watch.
Almost a run-out chance there again, Ivan. But it's good to see. And Sarah Walaza again, very good variation there, getting the slower run in. But she seems to even be more effective now, later on, than earlier on in terms of getting the in-swing in.
The pressure is beginning to tell on the Hong Kong batters. They're now going across the line. They've lost their patience. They've lost their shape as well in playing the ball, resorting to cross-bat shots. Leaving dangerously. Drills that one down the ground. Very well fielded again. The fielding, I tell you, Mike, from the Ugandan ladies has been exceptional.
That must have been Immaculate Nakisue with her trademark dive and picking up the ball and throwing. Another brilliant player there. And that brings us to the end of the 18th over at 66 for 4.
Certainly
in that
saving
picture again, Immaculate Nakisue, brilliant. And with this particular time, thank you so much, Ivan. And with that, we'll be having another change in the commentary box here as Davis Karashani Arinaitre, the legend himself from Uganda, will be joining me back in the commentary box. Welcome back, Davis.
Thanks a lot, Michael Grace. So it's good to be back and behind the voices. Good passage of play here, you'd think, for Uganda. They'll feel that they've tried and put on a bit of a stronghold on this Hong Kong attempt to get a good score. But Hong Kong will know that if they can get another 30 runs, or even 20 with maybe 12 balls to go. Goes for the big sweep shot. Doesn't get as much contact, and they scamper through for a single. It's a crunch time moment here with just 11 deliveries to bring an end to this inning.
Indeed, Davis. I almost want to wonder, what do you think could have been the picture? What could have been the kind of target that Hong Kong would have been relishing going into this particular game, given that they ended up having to bat fast?
Looks like an attempt again to drop and run, but I would imagine looking at the outfield, the slowness of this outfield, the size of the ground, they would have been comfortable with getting to that 85, 90 run mark. They would have known that maybe they do have a chance against these Victoria Pearls.
There you have it, indeed. Back for a pull, almost pull sweep shot in a way. I wouldn't know how to clarify it very well, but it's good to see the contest here between Konsia Weko and the batters at such a time as this in Yasmin and Mariam.
Yes, Mike, I think just allow us to take this opportunity to thank the unsung heroes of cricket. The two ladies standing outside there wearing that red top and black set of trousers. The umpires, obviously the main umpire right there is Athola Sharon from Uganda. She's done quite a number of international games.
Speaking of those unsung heroes, you know, the other day watching, I think it was in the Champions Trophy men's game against India, Rohit Sharma almost took up the head of the umpire.
But Scampers down. The scamper through for a single. Little shimmy. Scamper through unable to complete that run out opportunity. Single to Hong Kong's total. But Michael, allow me to take this opportunity yet again to introduce the umpire on the other end. Anna Yolanda Harris is one of those umpires that actually officiated in the last Women's World Cup. So she's not here by accident, but that simply speaks to her pedigree. On top of that, she is part of the Cricket Without Boundaries team that has been in Uganda. She's actually been in Arua doing fantastic work in terms of development. But when she heard that this tournament was happening, she put word out and asked the Uganda Cricket Association whether she could come in and officiate. As I say, she's one of those. She's just 26 years, but she's having an amazing, you would say, trajectory in her umpiring career.
Well done, Davis, there today on the Women's Day, recognizing two umpires there in Sharon Athaula and Anna Yolanda Harris. It's great to see women's umpiring as well as coaching going up alongside the actual players. But that brings up Malemikia Patricia to give her worth as the strike bowler to bowl the final over.
Change of ends from Malemeki, and she starts off with the dot ball. Not often do we get to see teams in a T20 game get to that 70 mark in 19.1 overs, and with just 4 wickets down, you just get a feeling that perhaps Hong Kong will feel that they have not fully utilized their batting resources. But I'd like to speak about Malemeki. For me, I feel that in the last 18 months, or close to 24 months, she's just been totally underutilized by the Victoria Pearls outfit. She's a more than decent opening bowler and very handy with bat in hand.
Well, Davis, the figures already speak for themselves, and they almost take a quick double there in the middle. A bit of napping from the outfield of the Victoria Pearls, but yes, Malemikia Patricia at 8 for no after 3.2 overs. Davis, the figures speak for themselves.
Well, it is crunch time here yet again in this first inning of Hong Kong. They will know that they need to make the very most of these remaining 4 deliveries to try and get to that 80 mark. Attempts to go big, but that was very well bowled and directed by Lemekia right in the block hole. The batter can only get a thick inside edge, and the fielder there at short fine leg, Fiona Kulume, if I'm not mistaken, manages to keep that to just 1 run. 3 big deliveries left in this first inning.
Certainly, Patricia Malemikia is showing her worth as a top bowler. The ability to follow through with the bat and not get beguiled into a false sort of down the leg. And at the end of the day, it's just a leg by, it looks like.
Yeah, but some good intelligent cricket there from the batter. Unable to get wood to it, but you could see what she was trying to do. The intention is clear that because there is no fine leg fielder in the deep, that is a boundary option, and she's trying to use the pace of Malameki Patricia, but she was not able to. So for me, if I was seated in the dugout of Hong Kong as a coach, I would be glad and satisfied with that attempt. Potter scampers down the wicket. Little shimmy, unable to get to it, and a very important dot ball yet again. Bring it just to one delivery to end this inning.
Kudos to the Uganda Victoria Powers, all the same, Davis, because the Hong Kong China at 74 for 4, indeed, as you mentioned, there is definitely more resources, batting resources out there, right in the dugout, but they've been able to control the flow and the trend of events. And that brings up the final ball of the inning, and 75 is the score for 4 after 20 overs, Davis.
Look at the batting card for Hong Kong. They were slotted in to bat faster, leading from the front. Natasha Miles got 30 of 48. Mariko Hill got 10 of 23. Shazin got 2 of 7. Chan Yan Ying got 10 of 17. Yasmin and Bibi not out with 6 and 12 runs respectively. Hong Kong managing to get 76 runs, losing just 4 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. Looking at the bowling card there, Patricia Malemekia led things off, bowled 4 overs, bowled 2 maidens in there, considered just 11. Sarah Olaza went for 19 in unloaded 4 overs. Konsa Aweko went for 15 in 4. Janet Mbabazi went for 16 in 4, picking up that 1 wicket. Immaculate Nechisui 4 overs, 11, 2 wickets, managing to keep Hong Kong down to just 76 runs in 20 overs. Looking at the highlights there, Malemekia started things off with some beautiful deliveries, but the captain of Hong Kong, Natasha Miles, muscled that down to extra cover for 4 runs. Sarah Loza drifted down the leg side. She got walked to fine leg for 4 runs. Janet Mbabazi yet again is drifted down the leg side and was clipped down to that vacant deep square leg region for 4 runs. Natasha Miles was in sublime form. Machule Nachisi managing to clean up Mariko Hill, sending her back to the hut. Sarah Walaza got that big wicket there. Big swing down the mid wicket, but a very well completed catch there by Alako. Yet again was cleaned up by Mbabazi. Janet, the captain of the side. Hong Kong managed to get just 76 runs in their allotted 20 overs. We do take a break and we'll return for the second inning. As a return for the second inning, just looking at that batting scorecard there for Hong Kong, they were led by their captain Natasha Myers, got 30 of 48. Mariko Hill got 10 of 23. Shazin got 2 of 7. Chan Kai Ying got 10 of 17. And the two batters that are not out, Bibi and Daswani, allowing Hong Kong get to that 76. They will feel they have just enough to defend against the Victoria Pearls. The bowling cut there for Uganda, Patricia Malemekia bowled 4 overs, 2 maidens, 11 runs. 4 overs for Sarah Walaza went for 19. Konsi 4 overs, 15. Janet Babas 4 overs, 16. Nachisui Machulet 4 overs, 11. Picked up 2 wickets. 5 bowlers used by the Victoria Pearls. And the Ugandan batting inning is getting underway, led by their captain, familiar with the Hong Kong side. Of course, they were led by the opening, that captain who was an opening batter. In yellow, it is Janet Mbabazi. She will be opening the batting alongside Imi Nachisui. Very, very, you would say, experienced batters. They have done well for their country. They'll be hoping that they can continue that rich vein of form. They've done well and will want to start this tournament off with a win against Hong Kong.
Indeed, Davis. With Ikra there being the opening bowler for Team Hong Kong China, she will relish the challenge of trying to keep the informed Janet Mbabazi a bit quiet compared to how the proceedings were. However, Janet Mbabazi is that kind of batter who has suddenly been transformed into the opening batter who does actually capitalize on the power play. So it will be good to see the tactics and strategies once again of the Victoria Powers going into this particular inning.
Very well bowled there by Ikra to start things off. Bit of a gentle medium pace, you would say. Decent run up. Could gather, you would say, at the point of her release. Good high up action. And the fact that for me there's that slip fielder in that region, you just get a sense that she's one of those bowlers that looks to get some patches out and swing the ball slightly away from the opening, from the top of the right-hand batters.
A bit of a gentle, indeed, as you say, Davis, a gentle pace there. However, you can't be beguiled by that. That could be one of her change-ups, and she wants to, right from the start, get a chance of almost chancing a wicket of Janet Mbabazi or Immaculate Naksui. But judging from where the first slip is, it must be that still the ball can carry, Davis.
That's drifted down the leg side, and Uganda is ranches is underway with a leg by. They scamper through. As I said, it's a slightly slow outfield, but the batters comfortably make 2 runs there. Leg bys it is, as indicated by the umpire.
It's very good to see Janet Mbabazi very positive in her approach, because she was definitely looking to sweep that all the way to the boundary.
Takes a little shimmy down the wicket, unable to get that anywhere else. Hits that straight to the bowler. But good weather, really, you would say here. No overcast conditions, clear skies here at the Entebbe Cricket Oval. Next, obviously, the oval is definitely next to that beautiful Lake Victoria, the biggest inland lake in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Little battles there in the middle, Davis. Good to see Ikra, Janet Mbabazi, because remember, earlier on in the power play, there will be definitely an opportunity to try and take advantage of the fielding restrictions and get a couple of boundaries earlier on.
Good delivery there, as we said, getting a bit of away swing movement. And with that, dot ball brings an end to the first. Looking at that, beautifully swung. Janet Mbabazi is totally out, not in the right frame of mind, right place. Her technique definitely tested there, but it brings an end to the first. Uganda 2 for no loss.
Immaculate Nakisui will face Sui's opening over from the airport end road. And it will be good to see Immaculate Nakisui in the last game that Uganda had in the Kwibuka tournament. Actually, she was the player of the match, having scored 32 and picking 3 for 10 in half overs.
Good pass, you would say, from Sui right now. Coming through. Unable, of course, of that delivery, bowling that a bit too wide, too much width on offer. But Immaculate Nakisui is one of those, you would say, top of the range batters in terms of skill set in this Victoria Pulse side. And the fact that she then went to open the innings, she's done an exceptional job in that role.
And that brings up the perfect drive through the extra cover. And unfortunately, it's only a single taken. You would have thought they would have wanted to return for the second, but yes, it's a good way to get off the mark for Immaculate.
With that single brings Janet Mbabazi on strike. Janet Mbabazi will be hoping she would have forgotten what transpired in that last delivery she faced from Mikra. That certainly tested her skill set and her technique. Farewell ball yet again from Siu. Bowling just outside off stump. You say slightly farther than she would have liked. Should want to try and bowl as straight as possible and bring all those 3 stumps into play. But that kept a tad low for my liking.
Mei Wai Sui indeed seems to be getting some pace there. And they're able to pick a single there off Mariko Hill, who does a little bit of a misfield there, but nevertheless, the Victoria Pals were already going for the single. They were trying to rotate the strike all through.
And that's been called, obviously, no ball for the height. But you're thinking that Immaculate Nakisui probably caught napping there. That was obviously delivery she could have put away to try and get her inning underway. But instead, she picks up another dot delivery. You would say, couldn't have asked for a better free hit.
It was a surprise indeed, Davis. Oh, and she responds perfectly well, getting it over the bowler for a couple of runs there, getting the free hit going, Davis. That's another 2 added to Immaculate Nakisui's tally, but most importantly, Uganda is now 8 within the second over, 1.4.
Very well struck there, beautifully struck by Immaculate Nakisui. Leans into that one. Front foot drives do not get any better than that. Work to do for the fielder in the deep. They do excellently, keeping that just to 2 runs. That is exactly what I talked about. The technique and skill set that Immaculate Nakisui does possess in this Victoria Pulse lineup is easily second to none.
Any youngster they are watching how to play the extra cover drive and cover drive. That is how you go about the business, as Immaculate Nakisui has just demonstrated, adding Uganda's tally to a double figures for the first time.
Yet again, very well played. A replay, you would say, of sorts, but that's gone straight to the fielder there, and that's the captain, Natasha Miles, and with that dot ball, brings an end to the second. Uganda 10 for no loss.
So it's 10 runs for Team Uganda. Mbabazi on the strikers end.
And Ikra, the lady in your frame, they will continue to operate from the airport end. She started proceedings off with a maiden in her first, she'll know that she needs to do a bit of a repair job. CU has conceded 10 runs in the other over, 9 runs to be exact in the other over. Drop and run there from Janet Mbabazi, and that allows us scamper through for a single.
Much appreciated by Uganda dugout. The Victoria Powers are elated by that awareness in the game approach, and it's good to see the rotation of strike, Davis. It must be remembered that in this tournament, Davis, you have Namibia ranked at 17 with Uganda at 18, Nepal women at 21, and Hong Kong, China at 22. So it is definitely a big concern in terms of bragging rights, but also in terms of achieving points over the other, whoever wins in each particular fixture.
That drifts down the leg side, adjudged wide by the World Cup umpire. Anna Harris standing there in your frame. Look at the replay. You can clearly see she's trying to get that away movement, but unable. Unfortunately, that one, the ball did not swing as much as she had wanted. Clearly, the lake breeze did not blow across the ground as it did earlier against Janet Mbabazi.
She makes some good making up for that particular one with a dot ball of Immaculate Nakisoi. Would want to see how Immaculate Nakisoi approaches against Ikra, because it's been a little easier on the other side facing Wei Sui, but how about with Ikra?
Back-to-back dot balls here at the Entebbe Cricket Oval in this Women's Day Cup, a tournament that is obviously being played by 4 nations, the first of its kind in Uganda. So as did mention earlier, Hong Kong have flown over 9,000 kilometers to come to the Pearl of Africa. Nepal as well are in Uganda for the very first time. As Immaculate Nakisoi continues to try and go big, we'll also mention that the Capricorn, obviously Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, from Namibia are here for the tournament. They've been here before, but now it's the first time they're playing in this particular Women's Day Cup, and obviously the host nation Uganda. So it's a 4-team tournament with the teams ranked, obviously, as Michael said, 18th, 17th, 18th, 21st, and 22nd. Big, massive T20 points up on offer. Drop and run yet again. They scamper through for a single. The infielders for Hong Kong called napping, and the Ugandan batters are quick on their feet.
Ikra Saha not so amused by her inner fielders as she walks back, because she had already stringed together 3 dot balls there, but still giving away the single to Immaculate Nakisoi.
Good delicate shot there from Janet Mbabazi, showing a lot more cricket intelligence, understanding that there's not much pace to work with for Mikra, but is able to glide that delicately down to third man. And with that single brings an end to the third. Uganda 14 for no loss. Well, as we return for the fourth over in this particular ranches, Mike, allow me to take this opportunity again. Very well struck there by Janet Mbabazi. Pierces that gap there at mid-wicket. Work to do for the fielders. It is a slow outfield. Does the ball win the chase? No, it doesn't. Mariko Hill is able to keep that into just 2 runs. Bit of lazy running, you would say, by the Victoria Pearls. That was easily, it was begging for 3 runs.
You know, Davis, it's actually quite an interesting combination between the captain, Janet Mbabazi, and Immaculate Nakisoi. Janet Mbabazi, not necessarily known for her quick running, but altogether she makes up for her intelligent approach in batting.
big wild slog, very unnecessary, you would say. Losing a shape there, Janet Mbabazi. You'd want to lean into that particular delivery. Wait for it a bit longer and just lean into it, just like Iminachsu did in the other over.
However, I agree, Davis. It should have been at least attempting to go for 3 runs because you want to maximize and capitalize on your power play in terms of making as much more pressure to get back to the bowling side.
Drop and run attempt, and it is yet another single. The Gunners managed to be quick on their feet and get through. Again, the Hong Kong fielders caught napping in the infield. Mike, I was leading to my question again as we celebrate International Women's Day. What is your fondest memory about this particular day? I don't want to say how old you are, but in your age.
Well, Davis Karashani, I didn't know it was my captain, my last captain, so he's allowed to move me around the pitch for whichever positions, whether it's fine leg to fine leg. But yes, Women's Day is always a very special day. And right here in Entebbe, the Victoria Pals, together with the Hong Kong, are giving us such a treat. To me, this is the most memorable Davis in my few years on earth.
Mike, on days like this, especially for you guys that are married, do you then whom do you give the flowers to? For your wife or to your mother, your sisters? If you had to pick two of those 3 categories, whom would you give the 2 flowers?
Well, this is quite an interesting one.
Sorry to put you on the spot, though.
I would have preferred to stay on the fence on that one. But to answer it as a formidable batsman, you definitely make sure you balance the whole equation.
Well, let's skip straight to the cricket itself. But yeah, back to the cricket. Uganda continue to cruise, you would say, in this opening stand. Back-to-back deliveries, and with that, dot ball brings an end to the 4th. Uganda 18 for no loss.
The Victoria Pals at 18 for no after 4 overs with a run rate of about 4.5 is quite an interesting picture, Davis. But that indeed has incited a change with Kari Chan being brought on by her captain Natasha Miles to try and stem the flow of these runs, because as it stands, Uganda's Victoria Pals are going quite comfortably. And Immaculate Naksui there, chancing her opportunity to try and get it past the cover region. But it's good to see for every young lady out there, this is the best way to spend a Women's Day.
Yeah, Mike, speaking about the Women's Day, we obviously know that there have been some very exceptional women in history that did tremendous work that obviously then led to the recognition of International Women's Day. We know what Eleanor Roosevelt did for the women's movement in her time, obviously in the 1940s, if I'm not mistaken. But the fact that the International Women's Day was first ever recognized by the United Nations in 1975 is testament to the contribution women have had in this world. And today we are lucky to be alive at this stage as we witness the first ever Women's Day Cup, a nation being played by a tournament being played by 4 nations down here in Uganda.
Succinctly put there, Davis. Absolutely. Someone else might argue that all the way from 1948 all the way to 1975, quite a number of years there before the actual recognition of the day. But Janet Mbaba is there chancing herself to try and get the flow going. But surely, as Uganda, we do celebrate the women so much, and it's well evidenced all through, right from the top most levels, even into Uganda cricket. And for Victoria Powers, kudos to all the ladies there and happy Women's Day to you all.
Yes, and with one delivery left to end this fifth over, it's good to see that the left-arm orthodox in Chan has been introduced on a wicket whereby the spinners are getting some patches. And that's glided down there. Very well done. Manages to pierce that gap for a single. Ugandans continuing to rotate strike, and with that single brings an end to the fifth. Uganda 21 for no loss.
Weme Sui there continuing from the golf course end, bowling into Immaculate Nakisui, who is already going quite comfortably, but it will remain to be seen how she actually is able to navigate this period of the game, this little time.
Another drop and run attempt. They scamper through for a single, and they're able to complete that one. Yet again, the fielders in the deep for Hong Kong caught napping. But the Ugandans will enjoy the fact that they're being allowed to rotate strike very easily. And they'll know that this is a very important over. It is the last over of the power play with just 4 deliveries to go. They'll know that if they can pick up just one boundary on the other end, the flip side, Hong Kong want to pick up their first wicket. Big effort there. Very well done by the fielder there at mid-wicket. Obviously saved a single.
Clearly some little battles there being won or conceded, because you see that Hong Kong China doesn't want to concede that boundary within this power play ending over. As well as Janet Mbabazi trying to make sure that she can at least get the boundary of this particular over. So there is interesting little battles there, but Wei Mei Sui making sure that she does a job for Hong Kong China.
Big booming drive there from Imachil Nachisui, unable to get any wood to it. Another important dot ball there for Sui. You would say, Michael, for me, mirror image kind of power plays for both teams. Hong Kong was 23 for no loss after 6. Uganda not too far from that. You'd say both teams are very top heavy, rely heavily on their opening batters.
Well, you almost called it, Davis, but yes, 23 for no. After 6 overs brings an end to the power play with Immaculate Nakisui at 10 and Janet Mbaba still there at 8.
And Chan Ki will continue to operate from the the airport end. There is a change in the commentary box. Mike Grace Ndiko takes a break. And a return for Ivan Thawithamwira. Ivan, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Davis. Interesting to see how the Uganda ladies go about business. So far they've dealt with the power play quite beautifully. Kept their tally of wickets in hand. Dealing with Chan K at the moment. I also like that they've been able to pick up singles here and there instead of relying on the big boundaries. And I think if they maintain this kind of tempo, they should be home and dry. The issue is for how long can they sustain this, Davis?
Yeah, valid point there and valid question. For me, I think the area I'd be a bit worried about for the Victoria Powers out there is that dot ball percentage, especially for Janet Mbabasi. She's been guilty before. She's on 9, a very pedestrian knock of 9 of 22 so far, meaning that she'll have to obviously look to catch up. But very well struck there by Machele Nachisui. But Janet being very slow out of the blocks, it means that she has to find the ability to change gears later on in her inning to try and catch up with those balls that she might have already consumed.
Absolutely. And looks like the Hong Kong fielders so far have had glue on their feet. They've not been able to react very quickly off the blocks. Oh, that's very innovative again from Janet Mbabazi. Picks up a single for her efforts.
I think for me, credit goes to the bowler. She was beaten literally in pace. She clearly expected it to come to her a lot quicker. But the batter being smart enough to take as much pace off that delivery, and she nearly got Janet Mbabazi trapped. Something similar with Mitchell Santana of New Zealand.
Yeah, spinners share their notes around the world. It's over, 26 for no loss, end of the 7th over. The ladies are all struggling with this slower ball. And not necessarily because the wicket is turning, but just speed. Yeah. We now see the introduction of Mahik Deep, another slow bowler. Looks like the slow bowling has done the trick in this game. And I can tell you from the history of Entebbe, it has always been a moody kind of ground and wicket as well. Oh, that's fully flighted. Beats everything, including the keeper's gloves. The pick-up buys. Davis, I always found Entebbe cricket over to be very moody. There were periods where the ball came on nicely, and then there are others where it absolutely didn't want to get to the bat. And then there was the wind, the breeze from the lake. It just didn't allow you to hit the boundaries. And so as a batsman, you had to dig extremely deep into your repertoire to just stay alive on this wicket.
Absolutely true. But for me, obviously, having played my trade as a spinner, I always loved Entebbe because it's a big ground. It always gives the spinners a bit of a chance to pick up wickets through, especially caught dismissals because of the size of the ground. Outfield is obviously a bit slow, and that's not changed over the years. So it's not a very high-scoring ground, you would say. But it's a ground as well where once the wicket is very well prepared, as it is clearly, there's a lot to offer for the batters, and it has looked the part because in both innings, as we've seen today, the opening batters have done tremendously well. So they're not demons in the wicket.
Absolutely. Entebbe being formerly the capital of Uganda. Oh, she screams that over. Point. Scamper for 2. They've done good running in between the wickets. Collect 2 runs for themselves. Uganda moves on to 31 for no loss. And as I was saying, Uganda being formerly the capital of Uganda, Entebbe being formerly the capital of Uganda, where the governor of the colonial government used to sit. In fact, not too far away from here.
I wouldn't know, I wasn't born, but you please take us through.
Yeah, well, I'm a fossil, so you for your own information. Yeah, but what used to be the governor's house has been turned into the state house. Very magnificent edifice up there. It's actually a stone throw away from here. And also home to the Entebbe International Airport. Another flighted delivery. Machele punches it down the ground for 1, making it a very productive over so far. Plenty of history in Entebbe. Also a lot of wildlife here. The headquarters for the Uganda Tourist Board and Organization. There's a zoo around the corner with plenty of animals on offer. good place to spend your money. Another flighted delivery. Oh, these girls are being very generous and very nice to the Hong Kong ladies. See a couple of full tosses not being put away to good effect. End of the over. 32 for no loss.
Well, and Chan continues to operate from the airport end. I just feel that for me, among the bowlers that have actually taken to the ball, she's shown a little bit. Oh, very well played there by Imachinaj Sui. Flighted delivery, but doesn't get punished. But for me, Chan has managed to get some patches out of the wicket. She's turned 1 or 2 deliveries, deceived Janet in her pace and flight. So she's looked the most likely of the bowlers to pick up a wicket. And there again, another example of deceiving the batters in flight. She's asking some very difficult questions. Oh, look at that sloppy running, you would say, from Imachinaj Sui. But Chan is asking some very difficult questions of these Ugandan opening batters.
Yeah, she recognizes that you don't have to give the bowler any pace to any batsman, batsman any pace to work with, taking off all the pace of the ball. She seems very intelligent, knows what she's doing, and the deception in the air. You see a little bit of drift as well, and on that occasion she pushes it a little bit. Davis, you wanted to put Michael in trouble today with earlier with your question. If he said it was his mother, then his wife would put him out of the house tonight.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. And if he said it was his wife, then the mother would would tell him never to come back home. Yeah, but we recognize the role of ladies in our lives, our mothers especially, the gates through which we arrive on this planet. And to all the mothers out there, shouts out to you. And also we are here to celebrate the gifts and talents of these young ladies here. Well, not all are young, but nonetheless we'll enjoy whatever is on offer.
Yeah, on occasion of obviously giving people their flowers, we obviously, as Ivan has said, really add my voice to him and echo exactly what he has said in thanking not just the mothers, but the women generally out there. We thank you very much for your immense contributions to our lives. Another slow delivery yet again. Work to do for the Ugandan batters, especially with deliveries that have no pace. And with that dot ball brings an end to the 9th. Uganda 34 for no loss.
I wonder how much it takes for these things to be kind of cameras and all that. But it is so, you can see so many things from if you are coaching or from a technical point of view.
Goes for the big swing. Can only get height on it. Field the right under it and completes an easy chance. Janet Mbabas is put out of her misery. A pedestrian 12 of 27 deliveries. Hong Kong pick their first.
Sent back to the tent. Mahek Deep does the trick. I think they've recognized that slowing the ball down will create a lot of chances, and on this occasion justifies that kind of situation. Very stylish catch. Taking it while sitting down as well. Beautiful, but sees the end, brings the end of Janet Mbabazi's knock.
As she walks out, there will be a break in the inning Bit of a water break, so please stay tuned.
End of the break. End of the break, we resume proceedings. Still from the State House end. Mahek Deep to continue. Malisa is on strike now. Oh, punches that down beautifully. Gets off the mark immediately, wasting no time. We hope she can maintain that tempo for her team. On the other hand, Mahek Deep would like to put a check on that because it being a small total, every single will kind of dent the hopes of Hong Kong.
The Hong Kong fielders have found their voices out there. They know that seeing the back of Janet Mbabazi and how important she is in this Victoria Pearl side, they'll know that they've gotten rid of one of the big wickets. And they'll know that if they can string together just a couple of 2-3 overs, good overs here. Chance, that's hit in the air. Fielder be under it. No. And that flies yet again for 4 runs. Important 4 runs. But you feel that if that fielder at mid-on had been at that long on position, could have been a chance. And Uganda might have found themselves in trouble.
Davis, I've never understood why that's a replay. Pumps it down the ground and picks up 4 for our efforts. I've never understood why fielders are a few feet off the rope, and then the ball goes right over their head for a boundary. I'd rather you come from the rope and then attack the ball rather than staying in the middle of nowhere. Oh, gets 1 from that as well. A lot of flighted balls, and on some occasions the Ugandan ladies are not capitalizing on so many of those. They are not showing a lot of aggressive intent to deal with such kind of bowling, but I think there's a bit of loose bowling on offer.
Wide delivery, but more importantly for me, Ivan, is that that delivery seemed to go the other way. Mahek Deep has been bowling off spinners, little off spinners, but that went the other way. Could that have been perhaps the other ball or that little leg cutter that she has in her itinerary? Little shimmy down the wicket by Marisa. I've liked her intent. She's walked out here and looked to mean business, and with that dot ball brings an end to the 10th. And at the halfway stage of this inning, Uganda 41 for 1.
Chan will continue. Oh, that was a bowling change. Bowling change. Uganda's run rate is still decent, well above what Hong Kong was at. In fact, required run rate at the moment is 3.5, so Uganda moving well above the required run rate. The fielding is sloppy again on that occasion. I think if Hong Kong goes on to lose this game, it will be down to their fielding.
Very well struck there by Machele Nacheso. She does mean business. Takes a little shimmy, gets onto that actually pitch of that delivery. Hits it through that cover region for 4 runs. Much needed 4 runs, you would say. But it's from one chain to another. Bowling change, right arm off spinner. Little shimmy, beautifully struck, Ivan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. I think that's the shot of the day so far. And I think a lot depends on Immaculate's efforts if Uganda must win today. And I think she should drop anchor, try to guide the innings to the end. But right now, she seems to be the one in charge of...
Commentator's gas strikes. She hits that straight down the throat of a waiting Mariko Hill at mid-off. And Immaculate Nachisui has lost her wicket. Uganda 45 for 2.
I think we commentators should just go home and sleep.
She took another little shimmy down the wicket but didn't get the elevation she was looking for. Unable to beat a waiting, a very tall Mariko Hill there at mid-off, who completes an easy catch. The lady in your frame there, she's been in some tremendous form for the Victoria Pearls, but she's sent back to the heart. She was one of those contenders for 2024's Uganda Cricketer of the Year. But she'll know the job is not yet done. And she had gotten herself in and would have loved to have been there at the end. But with that wicket, in walks Proskovia Alako with Uganda at 45 for 2.
And now it will take 2 relatively new batsmen to deal with the Hong Kong bowling. We shall see how Proskovia Alako goes about her business. I thought the shimming down the wicket was, the right answer to dealing with this kind of slow bowling, although the execution was poor on this occasion. But, you just can't sit down and wait for things to happen. You have to be proactive as a batter. We see some turn there. Chan producing something off the surface. Beating Proskovia all ends up.
Proskovia Alako is one of those players again, very gifted, has beautiful hands, has a lot of reach, and is a very powerful player. Speaking of power, there it is. He muscles that down the ground for a single. She gets underway. Proskovia Alako, if I'm not mistaken, in that Capricorn series in the game against Hong Kong, she actually managed to get herself a half century. So Hong Kong will have a bit of an idea about how powerful and elegant Alako is.
Absolutely. She packs a power punch. And they would like to get rid of her as quickly as possible. On the other hand, the cricket pals will need her to stay for as long as she possibly can. Mathematics comes down to 30 off 9 overs. At a required run rate of 3.3 per over. Tidy work so far. End of the over. End of the 11th over, 46 for 2. Welcome back, Mike.
Thank you, Ivan.
How was your break?
Oh, it was full of events because both wickets fell while I was away. However, I was able to see them physically, and that's cricket for you. Of course, I noticed the most last one. You mentioned something about a commentator's curse. But it always happens, even to the best of us, so it's said. The sense of wanting to keep going, it happens to you, Ivan, as well. I'm imagining during your times when you're playing for Uganda, after getting some good shots going, and the circumstances also require that we need to probably to either step up or get into that rhythm of continuing to pile some more runs. So that, I think, got the better of Immaculate Nakisoi.
Would like to think so. I think this tournament is going to come down to the team that plays the slow bowling better. It seems like the Achilles heel for both of the teams at the moment. We don't know how the rest of the other teams will handle it, but at the moment, looks like the slower the ball, the better the chances.
You know, you mentioned about the wicket, Ivan. Having watched the beginning of the toss, you couldn't help but notice, especially the other strip that was being prepared, it doesn't promise to be quite a fast track as well. So it will be good to see what will happen later on by next week. But after a couple of games in, I'm sure the spinners will be more into the business than the pace bowlers.
See some field changes there. Deep square leg goes down to the rope. I think that was because Melissa attempted to play a sweep shot off the last ball, the previous ball on this occasion. That prompted the change. But Lai keeps flighting the ball, luring the batters into playing across the line. Picks up a single there on this occasion. Melissa Riokot.
Marisa Riokot, they are guilty of trying to hit that ball so hard, and unfortunately she lost her shape a bit, and in the process just managed to get the bottom end of the bat, ticking it for a single. But that is another teasing bowler there, a delivery that almost went to the heavens and back, only for Proskovia Lako to miss it. But that brings up 48 for 2 after 13 overs, the Victoria Pals.
End of over number 12. Chan comes back. Keep applying pressure on the Ugandan batters. Score is still 48 for 2. Uganda is moving at a decent rate, certainly better than where Hong Kong is operating. Sweep shot attempt again. I think the ladies are struggling with the slowness of the balls. I think it would be advised for them to come down the track, try to keep punching it down the ground for one. There you go. Picks up a single. Keeps the score ticking over.
You know, even being comfortable with spin bowling and slow bowling altogether, it takes quite a toll on an individual skill of each batter. And so that is a bit to the test today, even though this being a T20 match. But Proskovia Lako seems to suggest that she goes all the way. And that was almost a catch, but yeah, it's run through, it's dropped, and it's 4 runs.
4 runs down there. Proskovia displaying all the power she possesses, although it's a chance, which was put down by Chan. Still picks up a boundary. But I tell you what, chips up in the air again, picks up a single. It's already 6 runs from the over at the moment.
You know, Ivan, as we were saying, it's quite a test as well to the batter, because normally you would expect the bowling just to be routine and straightforward. But with this kind of flighted bowling and slow bowling, even with the shimmies, there seems to be little impact. But that's a quick running between the two batters there, and they're able to get a couple of runs there.
End of the 13th, pick up 2 to sum it up. Been a productive over. 56 for 2 at the end of the 13th. Uganda maintaining a run rate of 4.3. Malisa moves to 5 of 10. Proskovia Lako 7 of 7. I think this partnership is crucial for the direction the game will take for Uganda. And as we speak, she skies that up. Oh, dropped again. Another dropped opportunity. I think Hong Kong will rule these chances. Another one put down. Proskovia lives to die another day.
You know, Ivan, as mentioned earlier on, especially Proskovia Lako, having picked a half century in this fixture last time around, they definitely would want to have her out earlier on. But giving her 2 chances, that makes the equation quite an interesting one going forward.
Melissa needs to wait a little bit longer. She's playing the shots too early. The sweep shot is on, but she's playing it a bit too early. And as long as she flights it, she'll get the treatment. That one runs away to the boundary as well. Fine leg boundary. Picks up another 4. Moves the tally to 61 for 2. Very beautiful batting from Uganda there.
Melissa Aricot seemed to have taken a heed to your message and really waited for that ball very well for the proper sweep shot through leg. And that is exactly what her team needs her to be doing out there in the middle.
We hope they can capitalize. They would hope the technical bench, the Ugandan technical bench would hope they would capitalize, the girls would capitalize on this and try to build a big score. White ball on that occasion from Lai. Melissa looks to enjoy to play the sweep shot. I think while the shot is on, I think she just needs to improve her execution of it. But I tell you what, it would be a very productive kind of shot for her.
You know, Ivan, one would reckon now, of course, the Uganda at the Victoria Powers dugout must have sent in a message just to keep it clinical, keep it to within the right means and within the right approach, just to make sure there's minimal damage in terms of Uganda's batting resources, but still being able to get the result. And that brings up 62 for 2 after 14 overs.
After 14 overs.
62 for 2 after 14. Proskovia is on strike. Melissa Ryoko on the other end. A lot will be determined by this partnership. And Chan would look to see if she can break this partnership up immediately. Proskovia seems to be packing a lot of power. The fielding in Hong Kong camp has not been very impressive, and I think that would make the difference between the Ugandan and the Hong Kong ladies.
Kari Chan seems to be attempting to beguile Proskovia into a false shot, considering that she knows how powerful she can be hitting that ball over the top, but not giving her the room and the width to execute.
Pump down the ground, picks up a single. Entebbe has always been a difficult ground to hit sixes because of the breeze and the moisture up in the air. So you have to be absolutely sure of what you're doing. And it seems like the Hong Kong ladies have decided to slow down the ball a lot more, asking the Ugandan batters to work hard for every run that they are getting. And the Ugandan ladies seem to be equal to the task at the moment, but Chan keeping her over very tidy. Swept powerfully down the ground. Will she pick up a boundary? Oh yes, she does. That goes for 4. Chan concedes a boundary. Something added to Melissa Ryokot's tally. Picks up 17. and subsequently to Uganda's total.
With that half tracker, given the rightful treatment from Mali's area court there, and that is just about the way to be clinical, I'm sure, from her support staff. Dugout would have been requiring of her.
Final ball of the over. Wisely played. I think they already picked up what they need in the over. It's 67 for 2 at the end of the 15th over. Uganda has only 9 to get of the 5 overs left. Lai will continue. Will that call for a concussion test?
You know, Ivan, all kinds of things never cease to happen in cricket. And indeed, yes, the physio for cricket, for the Victoria Pals, has to walk in and carry out a concussion test, because we have had Lai there giving a bouncer of her slow and turn and bounce ball.
I'm reminded of one of the spells the late Shane Warne bowled. I think he bowled a few bouncers to, I don't remember it, I think was it the Ashes or something. And he tried to employ the short ball to good effect. I don't know if Lai has borrowed from the Legends book of tricks.
But you know, Ivan, that underscores the importance of always using the full gear, including the helmet, even though you are playing against slow bowling, that is the spinners. It is always advisable that you use the full gear, including the helmet. That is a case in point. Otherwise, Emma Lai would really have had Proskovia Lako in trouble.
Absolutely. Safety first. That's the mantra. Everything seems to be okay at the moment. Let us see Proskovia Lako's response. Comes down the track, pushes it down the ground, picks up a single. She responded appropriately to the previous delivery. On this occasion, coming down the track and making the most of her feet, closing down the lines and making sure she turns the strike over.
Very intelligent bowling there from Lai, making sure that she doesn't give anything on offer, because Proskovia Lako was definitely going to try and chance herself with only about 15 or just a couple dozen runs left. It would definitely be her opportunity to try and get a bigger shot or boundary, just to reassert her authority on the game. But there you are, well bowled there.
Shot again, swept beautifully by Malisa Riokot. Picks up 2 for that wonderful shot. You have to be proactive again, while playing against the spin, using your feet, employing the sweep shots, the conventional and the reverse. And we've seen these two have been using their feet frequently last couple of balls, and on that last occasion employing the broom to good effect. Brings the equation to 6 of 4.2 overs, uses her feet again, picks up a single, drills that one down the ground again.
There has been some very good responsive field changes in terms of making sure that that sweep shot is not lethal against Hong Kong, China. And that is well seen through that kind of approach.
See what being proactive does to the spinner is it knocks them off their lines, knocks them off their rhythm. So if you employ the sweep shots and using your feet against them, kind of distorts the plans that they have. And these two batters have done that to good effect. Brings the end to over number 16, 72 for 2.
Melissa Ariokot continues to, Proskovia Lako, I beg your pardon, continues to face Chan Kao, making sure that she's able to take Uganda home at this time. I would wonder, Ivan, what her mindset would be at the moment. Looking to just finish up or try to get a couple of big hits?
Well, she might be tempted. 2 wickets in hand. Plenty of those. He's only lost 2 wickets. They have 8 of them in the bag. In any case, they only need 1 run per over to put this contest to bed. Let's see what is running through her mind. Oh, stamped opportunity.
Ivan, I would relish Proskovia Lakona head would want to get some confidence play going. And her confident game is after a while of being there, and which is probably right now. She would want to try and stamp her authority further on the game, but also getting her confidence in terms of the big hits and trying to make sure that she does that role as well for the team. So I'm not surprised by that attempted big heave over long off.
Well, she's obviously watching the golfers go at it here at the golf course. I hope she brought her 9 iron to just finish off matters in the par 4, not too far away from here. But another dot ball, 3 of them in a row. If Chan can string together another 3, we'll see what happens. It would be interesting to see how. That's a 4th. It would be interesting to see how the Ugandan batters respond to the 4 dot balls, Mike.
Certainly the little moral win for Hong Kong would if they are able to get the wicket of Proskovia Lako, but also she would want to get that boundary and get things going.
Straight to the lady in front there. It covers. Dot balls are piling. I hope it doesn't kind of offset the rhythm of the batters, but the bowler is doing so well for herself. There we go. Another chance goes begging. Skies that one eye up in the air. Full toss, not put away effectively. Almost creates a chance. I tell you what, Mike. Hong Kong have only themselves to blame for the number of chances that have gone begging. That being one of them.
Well, Ivan, the umpire seems to have adjudged it as a no ball, so it was still a chance. But yes, Proskovia now is still not able to put away the free hit. But it was almost a maiden from Chan Kao. And that brings up the 17th over at 73 for 2. Uganda's Victoria Powers needing only 3 in the next 18 balls.